So yeah, why don't you tell us about yourself, how you got here?
My name's Dane Bollwinkel, and I've been an entrepreneur for a little over a decade now. My first really go in entrepreneurship started really from a foundational place, probably like many of you, where I was raised in a family where my parents believed in a good education that would lead to a good job with good benefits that would give you this American dream. That's exactly what I did. I got way too much school, in my opinion. I had found myself really disgruntled with the whole system. In fact, my wife and I finished grad school and we both looked at each other and said, "What are we doing here?" But I did finish. I finished. And after that experience, we retreated back to where I'm from. We went back home and just restarted. Corporate America was a place where there were some opportunities for sure, but the corporate ladder was going to be strenuous and take forever to really build the future that I had hoped for. And so I started just poking around, looking for other opportunities. And one of the common threads when I was doing research and building wealth was real estate. It kept coming up, the same topic over and over, that you should have real estate as part of your portfolio to retire. And I said, well, that's where the money's at. Why wait till it's time to retire to get some? Let's just freaking go there now. So that's exactly what I did. So I'm starting my real estate investment journey while in corporate America. So I'm sneaking off to the bathroom to take calls for real estate. I'm taking extra long lunches. I'm sure my boss is wondering about my productivity. But at this point, I'm finding a way out no matter what. My last corporate job, I was the second to last hire before they froze hiring. A few months later, they laid everybody off. And that was the push that I really needed. I didn't have the courage at that time to really step out on my own. So I walked out of there. I called my wife and I said, they laid everybody off today. Great news. I'm going to go do this real estate thing full time. And thank God I've got a wife that believes in me. And she said, all right, let her rip. So I did. And I thought it was going to be incredible. And you guys may have listened to podcasts or seen YouTube episodes, same as me, where it seemed like magically these people that had no idea what they're doing, they step off in a new venture. And within it feels like 2 days, all of a sudden they made $1 million and it was easy. And I thought, that sounds good to me. I could do that. And gosh, it was a lot harder than that. I found myself 6 months later, after grinding and hustling for 6 months, I still hadn't made any money. I'd spent $6,500 in marketing, which was nothing, but it's all that I had at the time. I'd made 2,500 bucks. So I'm still in the red. And I'm like, what's going on? My wife comes to me and she says, look, Dane, like, we're at the end of our rope. We're out of money. We're just about to be out of money by the end of the month. And you got to freaking get a job or you got to make some money one way or another. So I told her that I would go and apply for some jobs. And man, this is one of those experiences where I feel like God blessed me. You have these moments, or at least I've had many of them, where God just reached out, and that was the only way that this would have happened the way that it was. I'd go and I'd put my hands on my keyboard to apply for a job, and there was like this barrier, this block. Everything about it was wrong. Like I physically couldn't go and apply, and I'd take my hands off. It's like everything's all right. I put my hands on, it's like, nope, hands off, we're good, hands on, nope. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I kneel down and I'm like, God, I'm pretty much out of money. I've been doing what I thought I should have been doing to make this happen. If this is the path that I'm supposed to walk, if this is the next step, then shake something loose, right? Because it's not happening for me right now. And I said, and I'll do whatever you lead me to, I'll freaking do it. And so my last shot, I bought this list of what turned out to be an incredibly competitive list for distressed properties. I didn't know that at the time, but that's what I did. I bought this list and I got all the phone numbers for the contacts on there. And I said, I'm going to call this list until I lose the house and I lose the cars or we make some money. One way or another, burn the boats. Let's go. I feel like that's when the magic happens, is when you surrender everything and you say, I'm 100% in. And within a couple of weeks of calling the people on those lists, I found a deal that ended up having everything that you can imagine wrong with it. But I had to make it happen. From contact of that seller to within 45 days, I resolved all the issues. By the grace of God, I got the deal to closing and I netted 70 grand on that one deal. It was remarkable and it changed my mindset forever. I was supposed to make that much in the whole year in corporate America. It changed everything. So thanks to God. That was remarkable. I went and built a real estate investing company. That's how I met Corey and made a bunch of money. And it was a huge blessing. But like many things in life, they don't last forever. And so I felt that there was change coming again, the same way as I felt change was coming from corporate to real estate. I felt change was coming again. And I knelt down and I said, God, I feel like it's coming. I'm going to do whatever, same as last time. I'm going to do it quicker though this time. So just leave me. And I'm going to put energy in these different directions and you just tell me and I'll follow. And so I was trying a few different things, one of them being cryptocurrency. And it was remarkable when you're in the flow of where God and the universe wants to send you. In my experience, things happen like a freaking magic trick. And so I took about $5,000 to start with some of the crypto ventures that I was dabbling in to try to see if there was something there. I'd seen some people just blow up with cryptocurrency in really short periods of time. And my focus was passive income. I wanted to try to make 10 to 20 grand a month passive income while I slept because that would change my trajectory. That would make everything that I was trying to do easier. And so I said, let's start with a few grand and just see where we get to. So I started with that. Within about 30 days, the results were phenomenal. Like it was bananas in such a way that I just worked the numbers backwards. And I said, gosh, to make 20 grand a month, I only need to put up $100,000. You can't do that anywhere else. There are no other asset classes that offer such an opportunity. And so I just did some internal thinking and trying to fill it out. And I said, you know what? I think this is it. So let's do it. I ponied up the cash. I built the passive income streams that I was seeking to build. Literally took me 30 minutes to build those. And lo and behold, I was working like freaking clockwork. I started making 20 grand a month right out of the gates. And I didn't account for any appreciation. So in addition to the 20, I all of a sudden started making 35 and then 45 and then 50K a month in my sleep. And I was like, wow, there is something here. I'm all in. And so off we went on this crazy crypto journey. And now we have the opportunity to be able to help people do crypto, to make passive income, to have appreciation. And we do that every single day with our community, which I feel blessed every single day to be able to do with Corey.
That's awesome. Let me ask a couple of follow-up questions. A lot of our clients and a lot of people who are going to be introduced to you are faith-based entrepreneurs or business owners. Like that is a big segment of people we work with.
Absolutely. My wife and I were talking about this more recently. My wife is not someone that has the same religious beliefs that I have. So we have some really interesting conversations. And she said, how much of what you do you think is like confirmation bias and not God necessarily? And I said, to be honest with you, there's a lot of confirmation bias. And I don't think that's a bad thing. You think about it, any good habit that you want to build, right, whether it be spirituality or anything else, you're trying to build a mental framework where you see confirmation of that belief everywhere and all of the time to instill this set of behaviors that gives you good results. And B, it's confirmation bias. It's faith and me believing and taking the actions that things are going to work out. I'm not the smartest freaking guy in the room, and that's fine. I've had so many experiences to show me that truly it's the grace of God. It's that powering, that enabling power that makes it that you can be and do things that you couldn't do otherwise, that makes stuff come together. I just try to follow along the path that God makes for me without fail every single time. The outcomes are better than what I ever imagined, and it's not even close. It's not hard to repeat those behaviors once you have some of those experiences.
Love that. Corey, let's switch and yeah, let's hear your story, man. How'd you get here?
Yeah, man. So it's a tad bit of a different story than Dane's. I got into entrepreneurship probably about, I don't know, 11 years ago. Might be going on 12 now. I got to actually sit down and look at the timeline there. But I got on entrepreneurship, man, because I was chasing the dollar. I was working in the casino industry. Anybody out there who's worked in the casino industry, they will know that if anyone has ever worked in that industry or been around it, they will understand it is the party lifestyle. It is drugs, alcohol, and rock and roll. That's what working in the casino industry is like. And you make pretty decent money. I was making over 6 figures a year. And I got really comfortable in that position. I wasn't mentally in the right place for it. And God knew that. And God also knew what motivated me, which was money. He knows what I like, and he knows how to dangle the carrot very well with real estate. I used to sit and watch the show Fix or Flop by Tarek Musa. I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know that show. And I'd watch these guys on the show, and they would flip a house, and in 20 minutes, they'd make 80 grand. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I could do that? Like on the side while I'm doing this casino thing? And my part-time, or not, she was a part-time dealer, part-time realtor, but she was my girlfriend at the time. One of these days, she looked at me, she goes, hey, why don't you flip the house so I can list it? Thinking about she could get the listing. Why not? And I was literally running around the neighborhood the next day, and I saw one of those cutout cardboard signs, like we call them bandit signs. And it said, fix and flip. I called that number, bought that house. Took me 6 months, and I made $8,000. That was my first taste of entrepreneurship. On my third deal, I got scammed by a contractor, and I lost my entire life savings, $250,000. I lost my 401k money from my job, and it set me back to zero. And the only thing I had was that job. And that forced me to go down other avenues in real estate, aka what we call wholesaling. And that's where the rubber meets the road of my entrepreneurship journey, because I started joining masterminds. I hired a private mentor. I started getting around guys who were doing this at a higher level than me. It forced me to level up. I look back today, the four things I look at leveling up in my life every single day is spiritual, mental, physical, and financial. I started always being around people who are better in all four of those aspects. I started striving to be like that. There's a saying that you're just a byproduct of your environment, and that you can look at the 5 closest people in your life and you'll know your net worth, right? Or you'll know someone else's net worth. That's very true. Entrepreneurship, I tell people, it saved my life because, like I said, I was going nowhere but fast on my deathbed. I was an alcoholic. I was a drug addict. And now I'm sober for multiple years. I have a beautiful family. I have 2 daughters. I'm married, and I live in Puerto Rico. And that is due to the entrepreneurship journey. That's due to God showing me and dangling the carrot and knowing my motivation, which was money at the time. And now it's one of my least, I love money. Still, don't get me wrong. I love money. You got to have money. But now it's all about spirituality, health, mental, and then financial. And man, quite a journey it's been. I've never been closer to God in my whole life. And so since I've got closer to God, I feel like this is where that next transition in my entrepreneurship journey came from. I was still doing real estate. I consider it successful. We were doing between 30 and 60 deals a month at my height. I had 17 people on my team, including VAs and stuff. I was working like 15 hours a day, 16 hours, hardly sleeping. And I took a step back one day and I realized I was freaking miserable. I had built this empire. I was making millions of dollars, but I was miserable. I was coaching real estate. I became like this guru in the real estate space. And I was unhappy, man. And so in 2022, is the beginning of 22, I don't know if your listeners have ever read the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Oh my gosh. If you haven't read the book, highly encourage it. It changed my life. It really did. And what it teaches is to stop clawing your way in life to success and let God guide you in your life to success. It's not just because God's guiding you and you know it's the way, it's still uncomfortable. You got to lead in that fear and lean to the unknown and have faith. That's faith is a big factor in all this. And at the time I was dabbling with cryptocurrency, just like entrepreneurs, we have shiny object syndrome. When we're starting to make some money, like when the bank account gets a little heavy, you're like, oh, I could do this and I could do that. And you want to look for opportunities. And that's what I was doing. And I already knew cryptocurrency was the highest appreciating asset class known to mankind. I had friends who were already very successful, and that's what drew me to it. I knew they could look these data points up, that from 2020 and beyond, it made more millionaires and billionaires than any other asset class, including real estate. I believe I am the one in my family to break the chains and curse of mediocrity, to break the 9-to-5 curse, the 401k scams from my lineage. Generational wealth is what I'm talking about here. And there's always one risk taker in every family that is the one who is able to do that for their generation. And I feel like I'm the one for mine. I feel very strongly about that. That's what God's purpose is for me here, and help my fellow man, my fellow community come on this journey with us. By the end of 2022, by taking crypto serious and treating it like a natural asset class, instead of throwing money around like a casino, I was making more money in my crypto portfolio passively than what my real estate was making net with all that headache and heartache. And that was my cue that this is my next evolution of my entrepreneurship journey. So I shut my real estate company down. That is when I moved to Puerto Rico. And now I have more time than I've ever had in my entire life to be able to do the things with my loved ones, to create experiences and memories. I truly believe that's the one thing we take to our afterlife, and it's the one thing we leave behind. Money's great. You can leave that behind. You sure can't take it with you, though. But your memories and experiences is what's really impactful. Now I have time to do that with my family. And we are bringing along a community with us where we're using cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool, and we're using real estate and other real world assets. We now have almost 300 members in our community. We've helped people make crazy amounts of passive income and free themselves. Like Tyler, he had a rental property where he was making $700 a month and he decided to sell it. And now he's making 15 grand a month off that same. And so it's changed his life. And so now that is our mission. We want to use these tools that are being given to us, that we have this power, and empower our community to do the same along this journey with us. And so it's just been absolutely blessed and honored to be working with Dane Bollwinkel, who I've met at a real estate mastermind 10 years ago. He was building the same real estate business as us. We stayed in contact and we were friends because it was the same businesses we were building. So we would trade industry secrets, stuff like that, always catch up. Plus we were always in masterminds and events together. And we started doing investments together. And he introduced me into the crypto community that I'm most passionate about. And that's where things really took off. And now we partnered up on helping these entrepreneurs do the same thing. I mean, they don't have to go all in like us, but to have some exposure, some diversification, just a little bit, whether it be 1%, 5%, 10%, it can be very impactful. You don't have to bet the farm to buy the farm with crypto. It did a 10,000x. He bought a ranch for $1.2 million. They lost their house. And so we get to help people like that now. And it's just been an absolute blast.
What do you offer and how do people get involved? What are the ways people can work with you? Give me the scope of your current business and offering. Let's capture all of that.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Our goal is to, like Corey said, our goal is to help investors, entrepreneurs, people like to be able to come and invest in cryptocurrency in a way that is meaningful, that doesn't take a lot of time and doesn't take a lot of capital to start with. What most people like to do, what they come to us for, is to be able to come in, get some exposure to the crypto markets and remain focused on what they're doing on the daily to be able to get some crypto exposure. We help them get passive income. Somebody like Tyler makes 10 to 20 grand a month. Somebody like Tony makes 20 to 40 grand a month. We've got lots of examples of that. We've got somebody like Eric in our community that's focused on appreciation, where he turned 3 grand into 400K in about 5 days. Josh turned $1,000 into 120 grand in about 2 weeks. And we have many of those examples. It doesn't take a ton of money to get started. And our intention is to be able to help people or give them ways to be able to look at growing their wealth with cryptocurrency, and then look at taking profits and investing that capital into tax advantaged assets where they can not only grow their money, but keep it too.
Love it. Okay. To get involved, what's my next step? Is it a membership fee to join the group? Is it one-on-one consulting? What's that look like?
Actually, you want to take that one, Corey?
Yeah, for sure, man. It depends on where your particular client is at in their entrepreneurial life. A lot of the guys that come into us, we start them with what we call the accelerator. And that's where they come in and they work with us for a month and they can build their foundation out so they can get their security set up. We are very passionate about security because what's the point of building a portfolio if you're just going to get scammed? And in crypto, it happens all the time because there's just not a lot of regulation there. You got to know where to operate and how to operate. And so we focus a lot on security there, a lot on transactions, get your money on chain. We do what's called DeFi, decentralized finance, which means we don't mess with any of the centralized exchanges like Coinbase, Binance, Kraken. We'll use them for on and off ramps. Dane's got a great analogy that he says, you go to Mexico and you take your dollars and you turn into pesos. You don't leave your pesos at the money exchange. You take your pesos with you. This is the same thing. And so we're just taking our crypto with us, and then we're our own custodian, and we teach that in a 4-week boot camp where they have their own private DeFi instructor that works with them in a group setting, and it's excellent. And so that way they can dip their toe in the water and see if it's the right fit for them. They're going to get a good education. By the end of that accelerator, they should have their first passive income stream built out. And if they want to continue, then we have a full-blown mastermind community. They could come and ride this entire market cycle, this entire bull run with us, because the bull run's starting right now. We're holding them by the hand all through it.
Love it. And so we were talking before, right when you hopped on, our audience is going to have access to your accelerator webinar, which is going to go
Yeah.
deep into why crypto and a whole bunch of stuff. Give me the kind of talking points that they're going to be able to digest on that webinar.
Our goal with everything that we do is pack stuff with value. So whether you come and work with our community or not, we're going to give you some really good, useful, tactical information. Frankly, information that Corey and I wish we would have had 4 years ago. If we had some of the information that we're going to share on this webinar, I really feel like we left $10 million plus on the table 4 years ago, simply not having this information available. So we've simply distilled that information down. We've talked about specific timeframes of what we are looking for and what we are expecting for this bull run, how to go and manage some of your risk, and even some of our favorite picks and passive income plays during that call. So you want to make sure that you grab that, take a look at it, use that information right now. And if you choose, you want to come along and check out our community, we'd love to be able to help you in that respect.
That's awesome. And you hinted at something that, let's tease it a little bit, because I know we've got quick buyers in our world and that's the people we attract. So it sounds like there's going to be a call to action at the end of that. Like, it wasn't $1 million. So what's that call to action look like, and what's the price point, and how do we get involved?
Literally, this is the 4-week where you're coming in and you're going to get hands-on, hand-holding training in a group setting where you have a DeFi instructor making sure that you're going to be like successful when you're done with that 4-week training. Like, basically, you have your foundation built out. You can't build a house without a proper foundation. And that's what this is all about. And man, we normally sell that. I'll tell you, and this is, you can look it up. We normally sell for about $2,000 because it's a lot of work. We have to pay the DeFi instructor. There's a lot that goes into it. We charge $2,000 a seat. But man, for you, Devin, I mean, we're going to do it for $497.
And for the $497, what additional capital would you recommend someone has available? So as they're learning and building the foundation, they could put it in. I know you gave us a $300 example. Is that real, or should they have $1,000, $2,000, $10,000? Is there a sweet spot?
Everyone's risk tolerance and where they're at in life as far as money is concerned is going to be different. And I tell everyone, come in with what you're comfortable with. There is no minimum requirement. If you want to start with $100 just to put it on the blockchain and see what this magic internet money is all about, do that. That way you don't lose sleep at night. Would you want to put a little bit more? Great. But that's the main kind of like, how do we check the temperature? Are you able to sleep at night? Are you okay with the risk that you took? Now, with risk comes reward, but as you move along through time and your comfortability goes up with the asset class, then you can add more capital. There's no minimum requirement.
Love that.
Our goal during the 4 weeks is to be able to build a foundation, right? So we're going to give the foundational information where week 1, we're going to literally go in crypto basics, set up accounts. Week 2, we're going to continue that, make sure everything's ready to go, get money on the blockchain to transact. Week 3, we go through and we actually do the transacting. We make sure all the security is rock solid. Everybody understands common scams and hacks, so they're not taken advantage of right now. We talk to people every single day that have been scammed out of large amounts. We want to make sure people aren't taken advantage of. So we show people how to protect themselves. And then week 4, we actually get into the passive income. So we share some of our favorite picks, how we're making passive income right now. In fact, there's a bunch of community members that came into that 30-day boot camp and participated in one of the really cool new recent passive income plays. One of them talked about how he started with $5,000. And I think he said over, I think it was 2 months, he doubled his money. So that doesn't happen all the time, but there's a lot of cool opportunities like that when you're in the right place at the right time. So we're going to walk everybody through that, give them tactical stuff so they can start getting results right now. And then depending upon where we are in the market, those opportunities vary, and the results, of course, will as well.
That's awesome. And yeah, hinting at that too, when we hopped on, you guys were even between each other sharing, hey, there's a run on this right now, and I just bought some. And so I have a feeling your members are getting exposure to that, right? You're sharing that common knowledge. You're hyped up about it. I know Dane's either doing it now or as soon as he hops off, he's making a purchase.
The whole community probably front running him because I already dropped the information in their community chat.
Our goal, and Corey and I, we don't run our community and our products because we need the money. We run it because We're interested in building a community of like-minded people. All of our products, we don't have an ongoing annual service or subscription or anything like that. Our products are typically like one pay and we're done. And it's very simple because once again, our priority is community building, not annual subscriptions. In addition to that, if somebody doesn't like our 30-day boot camp, all they have to do is send an email and say, hey, I didn't feel like I was blown away by the value. We literally give them their money back. So this truly is a risk-free opportunity. People can jump on the webinar, see if they're not filled with value. If they are, they can come and join us. And if we still haven't knocked their shorts off, then they can just send an email. We'll send the money back. No harm, no foul.
That's awesome.
Oh, he might have. I wonder where Devin's located at.
I did too. Not in Puerto Rico, apparently.
No, let's see if he hops back in. That's it. His Zoom. If it completely went out, it would probably shut and close the Zoom.
Yeah, that's a good point because he's the host. Let's see what he does. And he's gone.
And he's gone. Yeah, that Phoenix token, man. I don't know, man. It's got the exact same print as Incognito did. So it's a tax token. I don't like the tax tokens, man. But hey,
Hey, it worked on that one, man. Wish like things have worked.
Did it ever?
Yeah.
For some reason, this community loves tax tokens. Look at PTGC, right? Like they love that.
Yep. They love it because it's worked, right? So anything that goes up in value, people love. Just want freaking stuff that goes up.
So generational wealth is something that I know I hear a lot about. We read a lot of books about it, and we are seeing a huge transfer in wealth now. That first person in your family who's paving the way for generational wealth. What is crypto doing to change the next generation for you? What are you starting to do? You mentioned buying real estate. Are you doing leveraged life insurance? Are you adjusting your trust? Like, what has it unlocked for you that excites you about your kids and your kids' kids now?
Yeah. So obviously I'm using cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool to accelerate the capital that I'm able to put into apartment syndications and mobile home park funds or business and mergers. Me and Dane are going to be going after some businesses and ideally rolling them up to sell them. And it's going to be quite the journey when we embark on that. And so that's a lot of the midterm plan. And the great thing about all this is we had came across a trust, the generational part up. And this trust, it does a couple fold. It allows you to, I'm sure you and your audience probably know how 1031 exchanges work. When you sell a piece of real estate, you can go to a like type property and defer to taxes. This trust lets you do all that in between asset classes. So you can sell crypto, go over to real estate. Maybe you bought a business. Maybe you rolled up and sold it. You went back to crypto to buy the bottom again. And so you can keep this money working for you, all tax deferred. So you're not paying any taxes at the time the money's working for you, which is powerful. And so this trust also protects you. LLC does. All the money's in the trust. They need to sue the trust, and that's going to be incredibly hard to go and penetrate that. So it adds that layer of protection. And then you can set up rules and stipulations. And so I'll be leaving multiple trusts behind for my kids. And there will be, like, for example, a mile marker where to access this part of the money, you need to have a business going by the time you're 25 or something like that. Or you can access this part of the trust if you do want to go to school and that is your dream to go and climb the corporate ladder, which is not my passion and never was. But who knows? I don't want to deter my daughters, like a bit of a guardrails. At the same time, I want them to be able to learn in life how to create value. They need to understand what it means to create value for your fellow man, your fellow woman, to your community, because the money you make is a direct representative of the value you bring to your community. And I want to make sure they understand that at the same time that they're left behind with some good bumper rails in place and teach them good work ethic and just how to be a good person in general. And that's what's very important for me in this. And so I think, like I said, these are tools. Cryptocurrencies, wealth creation, accelerate the ladder, and then preserve that wealth through these real world assets like real estate, oil and gas. Me and Dane are investing in the oil and gas project together now. I'll probably do some more of that in the future. And then use this trust as a way of protection, setting standards in place, and not paying 3-letter agencies because they didn't invest with us. They didn't take the risk with us. And so I don't think I should be giving them a piece of the pie. It's one reason why I moved to Puerto Rico And when we found this trust, I probably would have moved to Puerto Rico if I knew about the trust before I moved here, because it takes all the boxes off of me, what I was looking for. And I couldn't find something out there like it. So it's quite remarkable.
I just wanted to ask the question, have you share? Because I know it's something that comes up a lot for people we work with is they're really good at generating wealth in their current thing, right? Whether it's
Mm,
their business, whether they're a top performer in the industry they're at, that they can check the box. And so I love this opportunity for them to learn about something they're hearing in the news, they're hearing in the media. It is a buzzword, but to surround themselves with people who want to build a strong foundation, security, quality education. So you're not just jumping in and buying and selling. And then to your point, now you've put this money up that's gone. Sure, yeah, we can dabble and play and talk about some of the stuff that not only you're doing, but other community members are doing with the increased cash flow.
exactly.
Talk to me about masterminds. I don't think we need to sell it to our listeners, but just give me a snippet there. I personally just vouching for it, right? I'm always in one. I run my own community. There's so much knowledge share that comes out of it. I've never had a one-to-one client outpace a group coaching client because the group coaching, there's just so much more knowledge share. Why is the mastermind community environment something you guys are so passionate about too?
It's like the freaking fast pass at Disney World, right? Get to the front of the line, you can just do it faster. So we live in an information age where everything that you could ever want to learn is on the internet, right? It just is. To be able to have a system where somebody could put it all in a digestible, actionable manner where you can use the information as fast as humanly possible, that's what everybody wants, right? And that's often the difference between actually having results and not. How many times have you gone and watched a YouTube or an Instagram video and you're like, oh, that was actually really impactful. I should go do something about that. And then you go to the next reel and it's gone all the time. And so that's the difference.
When I was coming out of those hard times when I lost all that money, it was masterminds and private mentorship that was able to put me up a notch in business. I tell people one of my superpowers is copy and paste. So if you've already been successful at something and you made money with it, it's proven it. I want to know exactly what you did. I'll just copy and paste it. And so masterminds allow that on a high scale because you're talking about many community members coming together with the same purpose and goal in mind.
I love that. It's funny. I do a lot of presentations at colleges, and something I always tell them is permission to plagiarize. Hey, like you're in college, and the professors always get squirmy, which is great, especially the first time. But like we're taught growing up not to, but then you get in the business world, and the best thing you can do is look at who's doing it great and adopt it to yourself, right? Obviously, you've got to adjust and make it fit. Someone's already paved the way to what you said. The information's out there, right? So that's awesome, guys.